Welcome to Game Day Preview on Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health. I'm Bob McElligott alongside Blue Jackets assistant coach Dan Hinote. And tonight the Blue Jackets are here at Nationwide Arena to take on the St. Louis Blues. It's the second meeting in a week between these two teams. And Dan, you played well in St. Louis last Friday, came up a little bit short. The Blues won that game 3-1. Tapped in an empty net goal with a second left in regulation. It was a game you were in all the way, could have gone either way, but didn't go in your favor. How important is it to make sure that the tables are turned here tonight?
Well, it's one of those things where, we did some things last game we'd like to maybe take back. Obviously play a little bit harder physically, and I think they're one of those teams that play really hard at home. And then that's a testament to them and their home ice. But we're one of those teams that play really well at home as well. So, it's going to be a war tonight. And if you've watched the recent games, they're not giving up a ton of chances. We're not giving up a ton of chances. It's a lot of a good playoff look between both teams. So I think that's what you're going to see tonight.
When you talk about the Blues not giving up chances, their defense is about as good as it can be right now. They have played 3 straight games on the road, and they have 3 straight shutouts on the road coming into this game tonight. What makes them so tough to get the puck through and to the net?
Well, they're very solid in their structure. They don't give up a lot. They don't take too many chances. They're not gonna kill themselves, if you will. They're not gonna try and overdo something, maybe make a mistake and have a turnover that's going to be costly. They don't do that. They don't play that way. They're perfectly content with dumping pucks in, playing you 1-2-2, and then in their zone blocking shots and keeping you to the outside and hoping their goalies show up. And for them, they have.
Now, David Backes really controls this team in a way. So as he goes, this team goes. But defensively, he's right there. Offensively, they got a guy like an Andy McDonald that can all of a sudden slide in and be a little bit of a sniper on you. And Chris Stewart is having a great year. 31 points for Chris Stewart, who is that threat to score from really beyond the face-off dots. Those guys, having those guys in the mix along with that good defense, how dangerous is that, and how do you defend those snipers they have?
Well, here's the thing is they play great team defense, but they have a very skilled lineup. Don't be fooled by the way that they play, because in the end, they got 4 lines that can score goals. Their 4th line is probably one of the better in the league right now, and they've really been their best line in 2 of the last 4 games, in my opinion. But if you look down their lineup, they got Berglund, they got Perron, they got Steen, who's quietly one of the best players in the game, in my opinion. And then their back end. They have skill back there that can put pucks in the net. So it's not to be fooled that they're winning games 1-2-0. They just play a really structured style of game. So they're not playing run and gun, but they certainly have the skill to do it.
Speaking of 4th lines, you're going to get some players back here tonight that are important players, potentially impact players. Jared Boll will be back on your 4th line tonight to rejoin Derek McKenzie and whoever, because Brandon Dubinsky is also coming back into the lineup. It couldn't come at a better time, could it, than against St. Louis?
No, it's perfect, because these guys played us, like I said, very physical, very hard, a little bit in your face in St. Louis. You add Dubinsky, you add Bowler into this lineup. Now all of a sudden we got a little bit more meat on our bones too. So that's going to be key tonight, and especially with a little bit of they had their chests puffed out in St. Louis. Now we're going to have ours puffed out, but they make us a harder team to play against. And that's the key.
It is, the electricity is good around here, but it's also a very serious time when you get down to these 8 games left. Only 2 of them are going to be at home. After tonight's game, you're on the road for the next 6. How do you balance the fun and the seriousness that you have to win games at this time of the year?
Well, the fact that these games are important is the fun. Yesterday we played a little reverse stick game to start practice to kind of ease the tension a little bit. But in the end, in reality, the games that you play as a player are the ones that you're going to remember. The ones that you remember are the ones that are important. So these next 8 games and then going forward in the playoffs are the games that you're always going to remember. So that's the fun you have to derive from these games. It's not about, mixing in the odd breakaway game or anything like that. At this point, guys are ready. They understand what's at stake. So there's pressure, and that's the fun.
And when you were going through a Stanley Cup run, how much tension was there with you and that Avalanche team at the time?
There was a ton, because the way I looked at it, and I was a young guy, was Ray Bourque was kind of the driving force behind what we wanted to accomplish in getting him the cup. Obviously, you always want to win it for your team, your city, and yourself. But at the same time, you're looking at a Hall of Fame guy that has yet to win in the storied career that he had. And so there's a little bit added pressure to the point where you're like, okay, I don't want to screw this up for Ray. Let's make sure we do everything right. But we also had a good team where you were expected to work hard these first few rounds to get to the finals. Anything less than the finals and the Stanley Cup would have been a disappointment. So, there was pressure all throughout, and you just I watched the older guys, and that's where our older guys have to step up and be leaders.
I'm trying to channel the pressure here too. Like to have a good time doing this, but this is pretty important today.
Yeah, this is time for good time is over.
Okay. Now that we know that, it is playoff time. tonight. The game gets underway at 7 o'clock. A couple of good promotions for you tonight. The Tim Hortons Jackets Pack is available. You can find out more about that right here at BlueJackets.com. And it's yearbook night tonight. Everybody that comes in will get a Blue Jackets yearbook, which means you'll get a nice full-color picture of Dan Hinote, I'm sure.
Oh, let's hope not.
I think they will.
Like action shot?
I don't know. Now, whatever they do with that picture, that's totally up to you.
It's up to them.
Whatever you do with it. Tonight's game, 7 o'clock. Gates open at 6. If you can't get here, you can watch it on Fox Sports Ohio or listen to it on the Blue Jackets Radio Network or right here at BlueJackets.com. For Dan Hinote, I'm Bob McElligott, and that is today's Game Day Preview on Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health.